What's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Land Grant Podcast Network's Power 2 Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jordan, and I'm here with my co-host, DJ.
Yo, oh my goodness. You know what? Let me tell you. I am so excited that I do not own a dog right now. And that may seem random, but the weather outside is so frightful.
Oof.
You want me to walk a dog?
You live in the South, dog.
Bro.
People be doing it up here.
Bro.
I literally told my coworkers that having a dog was akin to being a cigarette smoker because both of them make you go out in the cold when you don't need to.
For crazy
and they're
reasons.
Like, what? I was like, dog, it be fucking negative. Oof, that's early. That's early. We're not even at 60 seconds in and I'm cussing.
It was you this time. It was you.
It'd be negative 5 degrees outside and that dog got to go out. Please.
What?
And it'd be negative 5 degrees and y'all be outside smoking your cigarettes. I'm not judging. You know, you do what you
I am.
Do,
it's 2025.
But it
was proven in the 80s that nicotine is bad for you.
Yeah, but having a dog, I'm like, I don't even want to go to work. You up here?
I don't even want to go to the car.
6 o'clock in the morning.
What?
Up?
And don't let the dog be trying to be picky about where to go into the bathroom. You better figure it out. There were so many times when I did have a dog that I was ready to leave it outside. Like, this is not the time to be picky. This is not the time. It's cold. It's cold. But anyways, yes. Hi, everybody. It's cold. I'm cold. And I'm glad I don't have a dog.
Listen, I will say, I do not like dog owners in New York.
Oh my God, all of them?
Yeah, they have no respect, bro.
They take their dogs everywhere, those people?
Yes, but also, I was walking home from work. I was walking to the train. Why did this person let their dog pee on somebody's bike? And it's just stuff like that all the time. Like they be letting them pee on like mailboxes, people like just anything that's outside. And I'm like, you know that's someone's bike, right? Like you could have just like pulled the leash and found a tree
and found somewhere else. There's bushes and trees everywhere.
Especially like, right? Like I get it. We don't have to get into like the whole race thing. It's a little early for that. But like there are certain parts of New York where there are no trees for a reason. But where I work, I was, there was places, and you let your dog pee on somebody's bike, and it just be stuff like you just be walking down the street, and it just be just turd middle of the sidewalk, and it's like you chose to have
clean up after your dog.
You should also then clean up, and it's New York, so there are million trash cans. Like
there's trash cans everywhere. Yeah.
So yeah. On top of the like, just bring them everywhere. Just like, why is your dog in
Target?
Like, you know,
why is your dog in Target?
But then, like,
in the basket.
But then also just like that, and I'm just like, and it just you just let your dog pee on somebody's bike, and you could be like, that's a one person. No, it's not. I see stuff like that all the time. They just let their dog just anywhere, just just anywhere. It's just ugh. Anyways,
yes, I'm really more of like I'm sorry if you take your dog with you everywhere. I specifically don't like you. That's weird. I don't care that is your emotional support animal and you feel like you cannot do anything without it. Get stuff delivered. I don't know what to tell you, but stop, for the love of God, feeling, and here's the thing. It's actually not the people who bring their dogs everywhere. It's the people who feel entitled.
Right. Like if you bring your dog like and they say they can't be here, you get upset.
You're upset. It's freaking half-price books. You don't need your dog in half-price books. Like, that's the biggest thing for me is like the people who feel like entitled and don't understand. Oh, well, I don't see why I can't take my dog here, 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 and here. There are places. And the thing about it is, and I don't know if it's like this in New York, but I would imagine if it's like this down here, it's got to be like that up there. There are so many dog friendly places. Mm-hmm. There are so many places, restaurants included, that have they're dog friendly. They let you bring their dogs inside. They let you order off the menu for them. When it's nice outside,
you can leave it. You can eat outside.
You can eat outside, like, because at one point I had a small dog, and there were plenty of places that I could take the dog where there were some places where we could even sit inside with the dog, depending on like, you know, whatever. There's dog themed restaurants, there's dog themed coffee shops, there's dog themed bookstores, there are so many places that you can take your freaking dogs. You don't have to take them everywhere. And I'm actually loving the businesses that are standing on business and saying like service animals only. pets not allowed. Yes. Because why? And then people, my emotional support animal is a service animal. Your emotional support chihuahua is not opening up the fridge for you and bringing you your water and your meds when you're about to have a seizure. That is what a service dog is. Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's all.
I feel like I'm usually, yeah, I can see that. I was gonna say, I feel like I'm usually the one that crashes out first thing on the podcast, like no introduction. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, sorry everybody. I do like dogs though. I really do.
I will not get into this on the podcast, but remind me to talk to you about something that I saw today on TikTok about the history of dogs in certain populations. And how everything is racist.
Oh, I was about to say, it's about to get real racist in here. I knew.
Yeah, that's why I'm not talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyways, so.
Gosh, what a permeating concept. Racism.
Shout out. No funny, like, and that's all I'll say. I was talking to one of my friends, and she was like, we were talking about something, and she was like, why she lives in Louisiana, and she's white. Which doesn't matter, but it helped for the story. She was like, why is this versus this? And I just top of my head said racist. It's like everything's racist. And she's like, is it? And I was like, I don't know, probably. And then I Googled it and it was. And I was like, I told you everything's racist. Like if you don't know, if 2 + 2 is not equaling 4,
it's because of racism.
Right. There are a lot of things that just happen and just be, but like if you're like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why is this, like, how did that? It's racism, sexism, misogyny, one of the isms, one of the isms.
Yes.
But anyway,
which is why we need to stop being so damn hateful. But anyway, yes. Welcome to Power 2 Podcast.
Big Bucks, big Ohio State. Unfortunately, we did get smacked up by UCLA yesterday, but
smacked up and down.
And in other Ohio State news, Ohio State legend, emphasis on legend,
period,
Eddie George is now the head coach at Bowling Green State University, another Ohio institution. And I love this for multiple reasons. One, because who doesn't love Eddie George? That is an Ohio State fan.
Right.
Like, who doesn't love Eddie George? Eddie George is a great, like, and the thing with Eddie George that is good, especially if you like care about Ohio State, every school has this where you have like legends who just like don't mess with the school. But it doesn't matter, especially in like public positions. Like they just like never talk about it, and you're just like, that person went to that school. Like,
yeah.
Like, for example, how often does Tom Brady talk about Michigan? I'm not even saying he hates Michigan.
LOL, he went to Michigan.
My point exactly.
I'm not even saying gun to my head. I could never tell you what college that man went to because I'm not a Tom Brady historian.
Right, totally fine. But I'm just saying there are a lot of people who just don't talk, don't respect, like don't care about their programs, don't support. They're not sending no money, they're not showing up at games. And I understand that not everyone has to do that. But Eddie George, big Ohio State. He comes, even while he was coaching, he comes back and talks about the program. He answers questions about Ohio State again, even though he was coaching someone else. Like he's like in it. Like he very much like
he's dialed in.
Yeah, loves his time there and everything. And him being in Ohio, so much better. But also the other thing that I love outside of the Ohio State portion of it, Black coaches are getting hired. And
period.
Also, specifically, they're getting hired from HBCUs, which was not happening because there are a lot of really good coaches who have been at HBCUs for a long time,
for some years,
and have won a bunch of Black national championships and all these things and never got considered. And I do understand, we do have to be honest that some of the people being hired also have a name, right? Dion. Yes, he coached there, but he's Dion. Eddie, yes, he coached there, but he's Eddie, right? It's not just like Tom, Dick, and Harry, but it is still happening, which is, again, going to hopefully progress with everyone. And you're going to see that, yes, these coaches can coach. And they're actually probably better than a lot of others because of the lack of resources that they're dealing with. No, this is absolutely no shade to Tennessee State, but they don't have the resources that Bowling Green has, just straight up. and he was very good there. So it's just, I'm very happy about this for multiple reasons. The Ohio State of it, the fact that like people were like, why did he get hired there? And he turned out to be good. He got another job, another Black coach, the hiring of coaches from the HBCUs, the higher levels. Like it's
just all beautiful. It's just all a wonderful thing to see. Myles Garrett signed an extension, a historic extension with the Cleveland Browns, 4 years, $123.5 million guaranteed. That does make him the highest paid defensive player in the history of the NFL, I believe.
It has to, but it has to.
I believe so. Speaking of historical contracts, and because we didn't talk about it last week, I think it happened during this week, but obviously Saquon Barkley now is going to be the highest paid running back in league history, which we should not be shocked by that. He deserves to be the highest paid running back in league history. So, shout out to the guys getting their cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, cash.
For sure.
Miles, I just need $20.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
a little 20.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Miles. I do wish that he
would join another franchise.
Trade. Yeah.
Yes, I'm tired of him being on the Browns for sure.
But also, International Women's Month. Guess who his agent is?
Is it the same lady who's Jalen Hurts' agent?
Bingo.
I don't know why I don't know her name. I'm going to learn her name, sis. She's also a Delta. Lane. There we go.
Nicole, big Delta. Big DST.
Period.
Big elephant.
Love it. She's also the president of, what is it? Clutch Sports? I believe. Is that what it's called? Clutch?
Yes. I do not know her title.
She's the president, for sure. She's the president of something.
That's what I was gonna say. Clutch Sports has like a million divisions, so like I don't know if she's the president.
I don't know which division she is.
Like football thing, but she has some big title for sure. She is.
Maybe she is president of like the talent side of things. I don't know. She's president of something.
I don't know. They just be handing out titles, but whatever her title is, she deserves it because she is great. She is very, very good. Yeah, president of football.
Football. There we go. Because I'm like, she's president of football operations is her. I just know it's in Clutch. That's all I know. Y'all asking me too much information. But anyways, shout out to Black men and women.
Yeah. And shout out to Clutch Sports because everyone thought it was a joke when it got started, and now it's huge.
Look at where we are. Love to see it.
Bless. Okay, so what other news do we have? Last piece of news. The Raiders trade for Geno Smith.
Yes.
Interesting because who is going to play quarterback for the Seahawks? Like, good for Geno.
I don't know.
I guess. But DK Metcalf asked for a trade, and then they traded Geno. And I said, oh, y'all blowing it up. Got it. Like, y'all are not trying to compete.
At all.
They won't admit to it, but clearly they're tanking for the 2026 NFL draft, which, again, in my humble opinion, is going to be
one of the best ones. Yeah.
For quarterbacks. In a long time, because the last couple have been mid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Last news.
Good times.
Shout out to Geno. I don't know what the hell's going on in Seattle, and
I've never known really. I stay out of Seattle's business because I just stay out of that business. I got to
mind the business that pays you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back to get into our 2-minute drill, which is women's college basketball, and then to get into our power suite. This week, we are doing top 5. We need to change this. We're doing our 10 ACC conference games to watch in the 2025 season. We shall be right back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Power 2 podcast. We're here to talk about women's basketball.
If y'all want to hear about men's, y'all got to go somewhere else, child. I do not know.
Listen, they know that. Anyone who has been listening to me on any podcast knows that I do not watch men's college basketball, and I will die on the hill that men's college basketball is the worst iteration of basketball like from high school up, right? Middle school basketball is bad.
The only thing worse is kindergarten basketball. That's the only thing worse.
Middle school, like, you're just doing that for the love of your kid. But at the age group that AAU starts, and maybe you could argue, no, AAU, they be dunking. AAU basketball is not real basketball.
AAU basketball it's different because it's like showy basketball. It's like basketball performance, if you will. Like, I hate to say it like that, but
if you know, especially if you include good players, right? Because of course there's a lot of high schools where everyone's garbage and no one's not even playing D3. If you look at teams that have good players, if you rank men's, boys and girls high school, boys and girls AAU, the McDonald's All-American Tour, like that sort of stuff, men's and women's college, NBA, WNBA, I don't know if I'm missing a level. If you rank Olympics, right?
FIBA,
League, FIBA, all of that. If you just ranked all of it, in my opinion, men's college basketball is the worst.
Because why is it played in halves?
It's
I just hate that.
Also, just boring and uncreative.
And I'm bored, and then you don't know anybody because they keep doing one and dones, and so everybody's in the NBA, and I don't know them then, and I don't know them now, and I don't know what's going on. People were screaming and yelling for Cooper Rush to play one more year. I'm like, that's ridiculous. That
Why would you do that?
Cooper Flag to play one more year. That's ridiculous that you're chanting that for a freshman because you know that he's going to enter the draft after only playing in college for 1 year. Like, you don't get to know the players and know who they are. And I'm not saying they need to be in college for 4 years like the WNBA, because I also don't like that either. But like, there's just no continuity. There's no way to get to know these players. The game itself is boring. A friend of mine, I'm putting him on to women's basketball because he's always been a basketball fan, but he's always more so watched men's. But whenever me and him hang out, I'm watching women's basketball because there's so much women's basketball on right now between Unrivaled, Athletes United, women's college. Like, there's a lot of women's basketball going on right now. And so he was watching, and from his lens, he's like, wow, like, they huddle like after every play. And I was like, yeah, they huddle after every play. He was like, I've never seen that. I'm like, well, yeah, that's because women play basketball collaboratively. Women play basketball together. Men play basketball at the same time. It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Especially now, and this is where AAU culture got it, and I won't get on my soapbox right now, but men's basketball, even at the NFL level, is very one-on-one based.
Yeah, they play basketball at the same time.
Listen, that USC Michigan game, talk about team basketball. Michigan hoopers. First of all, they 3 freshmen, and they're all freshmen All-American. How did that happen outside of South Carolina? Okay, I don't even want to say good things about Michigan. And secondly, they're playing an all-guard lineup, and for 3 quarters, they was busting USC's ass. And the thing that I texted you, and because I think this is almost always true in sports, is they were playing one of their best games, and Juju had 4 points, and they were only up at 2. And in my opinion, when that happens, you're almost guaranteed to lose. Because like when you're playing one of the best games you've ever had, and they're playing one of the worst games, and you're only up by 2 at half, like eventually she's gonna do it, and she ended up with a 20-point double-double. So it's just like
in the second half.
Erickson dropped 25 and 12 or something like that. But yeah, it's just
it's the same thing with LSU and Texas. Like, LSU did not have pretty much any part of their big 3. Flage was out for the SEC tournament. She's not going to be back until the NCAA tournament. Anissa hurt her foot in the second or third quarter. And then Michaela Williams got in foul trouble by like the third quarter. And Texas was only up by 1 possession. I think the biggest lead that Texas got at one point was 7 points. LSU does not have their best players. Why are y'all playing the game of your life right now? Why? And mind you, at a certain point, and I know a lot of people have been upset about Madison Booker from Texas getting SEC Player of the Year over Anissa Morrow. It makes so much sense why she did, because she was Texas's entire offense. There was a point where they had 26 points and she had scored 20 of them. She was their offense.
Yeah.
And y'all are still out playing the game of your lives against a severely crippled LSU. Like, please, South Carolina finna smack that ass today.
Yeah.
Like,
I do wish that we could get another year of Kiki and Juju,
oh
but
my gosh, I know. It's so good. I know. I love Kiki and Juju so bad together. But anyways, we're all over the place. Today is Championship Sunday. So that means by the end of the day today, and by the time you guys are listening to this, there will be champions that will be declared for women's basketball, and then men's championship week starts next week, where they will go through all of their various tournaments. If you guys are unaware, this at this point is for obviously who's going to win the conference, but it also does, if you are ranked, it does have significant effects on where you will end up in the NCAA tournament as well. So there's lots of stakes here. Even teams that have lost in these tournaments some of them will still end up in the NCAA tournament. So it just depends on a lot of different things. But we're only going to talk about the conferences that are covered. Sorry to the small ones. Starting with the ACC. Duke and North Carolina State, they're playing right now, actually. North Carolina State is up 14. How do we feel? What do we think? I mean,
it's kind of hard because the game is playing and they're already up 12, but I was going to pick NC State regardless.
Same. Hot take, they're my favorites for the championship.
I was not going to go there, but
sorry, they're my favorites for the championship.
I see that. I can listen. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You watch it more than I do. I'm just here for March Madness, but I do like them. I am a fan of them. And what is their guard's name?
Isaiah James.
Love her. That's the one from South Carolina, right? That transferred?
No, she's been in North Carolina the entire time. Samaya. What is her last name? Samaya.
Is she on NC State too, though? Or she's played? Okay.
Yes.
I knew they had a guard who started their career at South Carolina because Dawn Staley still loves her. Dawn is like, there's no beef. Like, I'm glad that she's doing well.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't know how Samaya, if I'm being honest, I don't know how she would have fit into Dawn's system the same way that she fits Sanaya Rivers. I don't know how she fits into Dawn's system the way that she fits into NC State. Like the tandem of her and Isaiah, that 1-2 punch, that's not the style of basketball that South Carolina plays. So I just don't see like how she would
like the last couple of years they've been very heavy on their bigs, like their best
exactly players. It's all about the bigs
this year it's what position does Shorty play? She plays their 3, right? Who's their best player right now?
South Carolina?
Yeah.
There's several. Malaysia Wiley?
Yeah, she plays the 3.
She's a guard. Yeah, she's like a 2.
She's a 2,
yeah, she's a guard.
Like this is the first time that they're like best player in like since like Asia that their best player wasn't their 5. They're big.
See, but that's also not true because their best player is still a 5. They have 2. They have a freshman. Her name is Joyce Edwards. She drops like 15 a game. And then they also have, I think Chloe is a junior. She might be a senior.
Good. Chloe is she their best player? Like that's what I'm saying. Not that they're not good. They're always going to be. So like you don't think Malaysia is their best player?
I think Malaysia is their best guard. I don't think she's the best player. I personally would argue that Chloe is the best player on that team.
Okay, well then I was
Chloe is the type that
they're 5.
When she gets going, she gets going. She dropped a triple-double last week. She dropped a double-double yesterday. When she's really in the zone, that girl is automatic. Plus, she crashes the board like nobody's business. She's very Angel Reese-esque in that way. So to me, like, there's not a lot of wins that South Carolina gets without Chloe Kids.
All right, well then, that makes the point even more because they go as their bigs go.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Sanaya Rivers is the one who transferred from South Carolina.
Yeah. We're both on NC State.
1,000%. Like I said, NC State is my favorite to win the championship. They made it to the Final Four last year. They play with a chip on their shoulder because they're the one team that's in the top 10 and they don't hardly ever get spoken about unless they do something like beat Notre Dame, which they did 2 weeks ago. So I think that they're also at a place where the offense is just humming. They're playing together. Zoe Brooks, the sophomore, is doing amazing. Sanaya is doing amazing. Isaiah James obviously is doing really well because now, especially with Sanaya and Isaiah specifically, they are trying to affect their draft stock, right? Because the WNBA draft is literally tomorrow. So
basically,
there's a little bit of that. I think both of them could be, some late first rounders if they really, really go far. Coaching is really good. They have a little bit of depth. I think that they really could go very far. I will say the one team that I do not think that they would be able to beat is South Carolina. But they would give them a good fight.
I don't think they beat USC either. I mean, they've already beat Notre Dame. I could see them beating Texas. I could see them beating. UConn would be hard, but I think I could see them beating UConn. I think USC would be hard.
I think South Carolina would be.
Well, those two.
USC, the other USC.
Yeah. Yes. Both USCs, but South Carolina is not USC unless you live in South Carolina. Yes. I don't care what anybody says.
But I think the thing about it is like, and I hate to say it like this. Well, when we get to it, I'll make this point when we get to it. But yeah, ACC, we're saying NC State. Since we're already talking about South Carolina and Texas, SEC. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys saw me crash out last week about this coin tossing nonsense for the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament. I love when there is a form of poetic justice that occurs where now we get to watch Texas and South Carolina play head to head for the championship. Like, you can't script that any better. Like, you really, really can't. Like, and especially the way that South Carolina got to the championship, because they just smacked ass all the way there. They scored 93 points yesterday after making 2 threes. They scored 93 points.
That's crazy. That sounds like high school. like you see you see 105 to 17 and you're like, what happened? It's like, yeah, no threes. They just
hooping. And I mean, Malaysia is having the season of her life. I love that for her. But everybody is doing well. South Carolina, when they play together, they play their best basketball. When Raven, Tessa, Pow, freaking Malaysia, Chloe or Joyce, when they are playing together, it is the best basketball, period. Men's or women's, it is the best basketball. Like,
big Don Staley.
It's Don Staley. And they're the type of team, if you blink and you walk away, you go grab a soda real quick, get some popcorn, they're up by 17. Like, what happened?
Yeah. So have they all of the awards come out after the tournament, right? Including
the awards have already come out.
Who was the national coach of the year? It was USC's coach, right?
I don't know who coach of the year is actually. So I can look it up because I actually do not know.
I don't know either, but
they might not have done the national awards. I think they did like the
they do the conference ones.
They might not have done the national ones. Hold on.
Yeah, but the reason why I was asking is that I think that there's a chance that USC's coach wins coach of the year.
Potentially.
Especially like first year in the Big Ten. They only lost 2 games, but they beat Notre Dame, they beat UConn or whoever. Maybe they lost to Notre Dame. It doesn't matter. They beat 2 really good teams that are going to go far in the tournament and Juju and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, Don Staley is still the best coach. Like, the best coach does not win coach of the year. And I know they're going to be like, oh, they lost
it's going to be
games. And it's like, well, yeah, I know them losing games is crazy when they hadn't lost games in 17 years. But yeah, they're still,
yeah, yeah. The SEC awards have come out, and so that's been the big thing about
who won coach of the year in the SEC.
That I do not know. I just know who won player of the year because that's what everybody was talking about, was the fact that Madison Booker won. You have to Google so many things. SEC coach of the year, women's basketball, because if you just do basketball, it'll pull up men's as if we care. Coach Schaefer was the coach of the year, which is the Texas coach.
Okay. All right.
I think there's a little bit of Texas bias going on, but I'm not going to get into that. Just like them having the number 1 seed makes no sense to me. I don't care. Anybody can fight me, but in the AP polls, Texas being number 1 over South Carolina, over even Notre Dame, even though they're losing, but
also, I mean, again, I won't do too much of an opinion on this because I don't watch a lot, but I do know USC, the Big Ten is supposed to have roughly 12 teams get into the tournament, including 4 or so teams that's going to be top 4 seeds. I don't think it's going to work. If UCLA loses again, I don't think it'll work this way. But USC and UCLA will at least be 1-2 seeds. Ohio State, I think, is going to be 3 seed or 4, something like that. Maryland's going to be 3 or 4, and then they also have the win over UConn, and they have. Did they beat Texas? But they lost to Notre Dame. They beat USC. The USC won another big game. And lost one. Either way, it's just like, is Texas? I don't know. Basketball is weird, and they do like I know they do like the quad wins and things like that, but I'm just like,
there's a lot of. I mean, technically, Texas is number one because they have they do have the best record. They're 29-2. So like, yes, but like, they've also the 2 losses that they had were also pretty heavy losses. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, winning the SEC, I'm not even trying to be funny. Texas does not have a chance against South Carolina. South Carolina has come to the SEC championship 6 times. At this point, SEC championship trophies are like family heirlooms at South Carolina. Like they're just like, hey, here's another one. So, no tea. But it would be really cool because Texas would obviously win the SEC for the first time in program history because it's the first time that Texas is in the SEC. So that's cool if they do win.
Yeah.
But I'm picking South Carolina.
I'm with you on that.
Period. The only reason why we are talking about this conference is because of the University of Connecticut. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. But the Big East, shock, Paige Beckers is the player of the year. Shock, Gino Auriemma is the coach of the year. Anyway.
Who knew? The one thing I will say about this is I think I love, like, I say this very rarely because there's very few players who like deserve it, but like LeBron shouldn't have to wait. Like, right? It's like Steph shouldn't have to wait. Just put him in the Hall of Fame. We know it's happening. No one cares. Tom Brady shouldn't have had to wait 5 years. Like, there's very, very few players that like this fits. But when it does, it's just like, come on, dog. Like, what are we talking about? So like, I say this to say I love that UConn put Paige in their Hall of Fame on senior night. Cause like,
like,
you're gonna do it, so like, why wait? Like, what do you mean? I'm very happy that like it took them a little bit to retire the jersey for whatever reason, but like that Asia statue immediately. Why wait till she's 70? Just put it out there. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I love that they were just like, dog, like,
like here, like
you're gonna be here. Why are we playing around? Just like,
I agree.
Just do it. You know, just like.
I agree.
I get it. They're not going to change the Hall of Fame rules, but the second LeBron retires, Miami, Cleveland, and the Lakers need to retire the jersey. And personally, I'll say this once, I'll say it again. When LeBron retires, 23,
the number 23,
league-wide, because you are never going to have 2 players better than LeBron and Michael Jordan. And so just retire it.
I agree. I agree.
And put both of their jerseys in every stadium, because what are we doing?
I am so behind that idea. It's ridiculous. I think that 23 has served her purpose, both on MJ and on LeBron. I don't want to see another player wear 23. I want to move on with our it's kind of like with like 32. Like, no one's ever going to do 32 the way that Magic did 32. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't even want to see people wearing 24, to be honest. Like,
and I get that you can't do that for everyone, but
you can't do it for everyone. But 23, you could do it for 23.
It's the 2 top
2 of the best.
Like, very rarely does anyone argue that they're not 1 and 2. There's going to be a perpetual argument of who is 1 and who is 2, but they're 1 and 2. They wore the same jerseys. Between the 2 of them, they have 10 championships and 1 million awards and all the records,
hundreds of thousands of points,
the culture and the face of and all this stuff. It's just just.
Number 23 needs to be we're done. We're cutting it. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. Yeah, because it's been the basketball number for 30 years straight, basically. Really 40, if you think about it. So
22 years.
That's why I was like, it's really 40. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm just like, we good on this.
The league is like what, 100 years old? Like,
it's been about 30s. They started in the 30s, I think.
It's been almost half the league.
Yeah,
the entire history of the league. Like, come on,
it's time. I agree with the way, because the thing about Paige Beckers and the reason why she's getting all these accolades now is because she did what she did technically in 3 years, not 5, excuse me, because she lost 2 years from injury. So she's breaking records of UConn legends in less time than the UConn legends. Put the jersey in the rafters, like put the statue up. Like, do all the things. She is obviously the projected number 1 pick in the WNBA draft for obvious reasons. But what I love
saw a mock draft that had her 2, and I said, "Stop lying."
Shut the anyway.
It was they had her 2 to Shorty from Notre Dame, whose name I can't think of.
Hannah Hidalgo.
Hannah's
shorter for Olivia Miles.
Yes, and I was like, "Stop it!" Like
Olivia Miles is
a dog, but stop it. Be serious. Come on, like come on.
When the draft gets closer, hopefully we'll be able to talk about it at least a little bit. I can see Olivia Miles going first, but also at the same time, it's difficult with that because Olivia and Paige are both point guards, essentially, and Dallas needs a point guard. So they really do have their pick when it comes to that. But I think it's like also like kind of like a foregone conclusion at this point that Paige is the first round draft pick because she would have been, first pick because she would have been the first pick last year too.
Yes.
So what I will
we get it would have been Paige.
Yes. What I will say about UConn though is they are obviously in a different position than they were last year, where Paige basically had to put the team on her back and drag 5 players to where'd they get? How far did they get? Elite 8, Final 4, whichever one.
Final
4, I believe. No, Elite 8.
I don't know. I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. They were not healthy, and Paige still managed to get them by herself all the way down there. So the fact that they have AZ Fudd back, they have Sarah Strong, the best freshman in the country. They have 2 great guards who I really hate that I can't remember their names, but there's one girl, she can shoot the leather off that ball. Like she is a walking bucket, and I can't think of her name.
Azizi Fudd is a guard, right?
AZ Fudd, yeah. I can't think of her name. I'm talking about a different guard though. Oh my gosh, I know her name. I don't know why I can't think of her freaking name. It's about to make me bad. But they basically, UConn is as complete as they have probably been since Paige started playing there. So
yeah, they made it to the Elite 8 and lost to Angel.
There we go. Not that lost to Angel. No.
They did, which is insane that Angel was in college last year.
Ashlyn Shade. That's who I'm talking about. She's another guard who's amazing. But yeah.
With all of the things that have been happening, isn't it crazy that like Caitlin, Angel, Rakia, like all of them were in college last year? Like it just doesn't feel like it's just like because the W season has happened and then Unrivaled and all of them are everywhere and modeling and fashion weeks and pocket and all this stuff. And it's just like this time last year they were in college. Like
they were in college.
I can't imagine being them. like I can't imagine being.
I'm tired just thinking about it.
That like this is a year, dog. Like, yeah.
I love that for them. But yes, UConn is obviously winning the Big East.
Yes.
Duh. As far as how far they make it in the tournament, I don't know. They're the only team, one of the only teams that smacked up South Carolina, and they smacked up South Carolina at home. So. I don't know. One of the things I love and what this conversation is really about, at least for me, is to highlight the parity that exists in women's basketball that really has not existed before. Because all the teams that we're talking about also really do have a really actual chance at winning the championship. All of them, except for Villanova. I don't even know Villanova's record. But UConn could win. South Texas could win. North Carolina could win. Texas could win. Like anybody could win. So, yeah, for sure, UConn is winning the Big East. Moving on to me, I think the biggest game of the day, besides Texas and South Carolina, the Big Ten, UCLA versus USC. Their 3rd time playing in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Like, hello? Okay. So Isaiah James is being helped off the court. She is walking very, very gingerly. She's now being carried off the court, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely heartbroken in this moment.
Yeah, that is tough.
She's being carried off the court. Like, what? Okay, and these are the things that you hate to see, right? Is you know, this is the penultimate moment of the season, and you see the best players go down. I hated to see Anissa Morrow go down yesterday, and now we see Isaiah James not even being able to walk off the court. So let's hope that at least it's not like horrible news. It's not season-ending news. But to the Big Ten, UCLA and USC, what do we think?
Sorry, very quickly, and we'll go into this a little bit further. I just pulled it up. I think UConn is probably going to the Final Four based on the projection that I'm seeing. If they end up in the side of the bracket that they're being projected.
Oh, okay.
They're being projected in the side with West Virginia, Columbia, Kentucky, Liberty, Louisville, Oregon, UConn, and Albany. I think they sweep through that. I think they get to the Final Four in that bracket. That is not one I'd like. That's not one of the harder ones in my opinion, especially for the level of like how good they are. Because like for example, USC is in there with Tennessee, Iowa, Duke, and LSU. Like I think that's harder. Like Baylor is on that side as well. Texas is in there with Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama. Yeah, so I think that we can. This is not for this show, but you just mentioned it, and so I think they go pretty far. USC, UCLA. I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know is because one thing that is true in sports, even in basketball, is it's hard to beat the same team multiple times. And so I kind of wish that USC lost one of the regular season contests.
I agree.
Because I feel like UCLA is going to win just because can you beat them 3 times? You know what I'm saying? And like, I know the games haven't necessarily been close, but like, what does that matter? And so my heart is telling me USC, and they're going to be like the 3rd team ever to win back-to-back conference championships in 2 different conferences, but it's just hard to beat them 3 times. And they're your rival, but like Kiki is balling, and I'm still gonna pick USC, but I'm gonna hedge and say I would not be surprised if UCLA does it because it's just hard. It's hard to do it, but I do think USC is a bad matchup for UCLA, specifically in my opinion, because Lauren Betts, I believe is her name. Mm-hmm. She plays like who's the guy from the French dude basketball?
Wimby?
No,
Wimby,
the older one.
The older French dude,
the one that wins all the.
Oh, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, she plays like Rudy Gobert, and that she's almost always in drop coverage.
Yes,
and you're gonna play drop coverage against Juju.
Yes, apparently.
Like that's the thing. Like, that's the thing, right? Like they're very good, but the problem is Juju will just kill you in the mid range. Like that's the thing. Like this would also be a bad matchup if they had to play UConn because Paige would not every the mid range is not what it used to be. Not everyone can do it, but you are talking about one of the few guards that will pull up in the mid range for no reason with good defense. And I was watching the Ohio State game, and Ohio State was missing, but the only offense that they had was running motion where they would get their shooters in the mid range, and they were just missing. You're not missing. Like I'm sorry. So it's just like it's hard.
She's not missing, and she's drawing fouls. She can draw a foul like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times, but it's also, I think it's hard for UCLA to beat USC because your best player is essentially a non-factor on the defensive end because USC has 2 players for sure, but their best player can just she can go 10 for 12 in the mid-range if she's on.
Yeah. And then she doesn't have to. Yeah. I agree. It's difficult for me to pick UCLA, even though this is their 3rd time playing, because it also just feels like the only thing that UCLA has is Lauren Betts. And I know that's not true. They have some pretty great guards, but a lot of times it feels like their game plan is centered around getting Lauren Betts the ball, which does create beautiful things.
Yes.
But in this particular instance, I also don't think the last 2 times that UCLA played USC, they game planned well enough for Juju. So unless they game plan differently and they're just throwing bodies at Juju all the time, I just don't know how they pulled out the win when they haven't been able to do it the other 2 times.
And you're playing your 3rd time in 3 days, so you're
3rd time in 3 days,
and you're just kind of hooping at this point.
Exactly. This is all now, mind you, friends and fans, these are all fatigue games. Okay, yeah. All of them are going to be like that because these women have been playing all week, right? So that's the other thing too is, a lot of times, even when she's tired, she doesn't seem tired, Juju. So even when she's fatigued, she's still making her shots. She's still very effective. I think her fatigue more so affects her on the defensive end than it does on the offensive end. So that's why I'm just like, I don't know, because even Tyra Juju is scary.
And not that she's not good or in shape or anything like that, but a big is a big. How does your big, who is also your best player, handle playing?
Handle fatigue.
Truthfully, it's easier to handle fatigue when you're a guard versus a big because of size and stamina and just like it, that's life. Like I'm
and
not
usage.
I'm not saying anything about her. And this is also true for USC, of course, right? You have to consider how Kiki will handle fatigue, especially because she had to carry them yesterday. But the thing is,
she played at Stanford with Cam Brink. Like no shade, but I'm just saying, like, Stanford went pretty far last season too.
Yeah. So I think we're both on USC.
USC. The last one, because we've been yapping for way too long about basketball now. Big 12.
I have no idea.
Baylor. Baylor versus TCU. I also have no idea. But my problem is, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Big 12 basketball is probably the one area that's probably the basketball I've watched the least. I know that TCU is doing really, really well. Haley Van Lith obviously won Big 12 Player of the Year, which is a big deal because a lot of people tried to say she was trash because she played on LSU last year and it didn't really work.
They just didn't use her at all.
They didn't use her well. She didn't fit into Kim Mulkey's system, and that's okay. She fits into this system at TCU. She's averaging 22 points a game for her last 5 games. I mean, the girl went to the Olympics.
Yeah. She's a high usage player.
She is.
And with the star power on LSU, but then also specifically being on LSU with Angel still there, who is
Flage,
but Angel Flage is taking the ball a lot, of course. But then Angel's also the focus. That just wasn't a good she was good at Louisville. I think it was Louisville, and
she was a Louisville first.
Because she was, even if she's not the best player, the ball was in her hands. She's Chris Paul, right? Like Chris Paul does not play off ball. Like she was good. It's just a bad fit. It was just a bad fit. Like
it's a bad fit. But this is a lesson in using the transfer portal to your advantage in the way of like find the team that fits, because Haley could have also just been like, whatever, I'll just stay at LSU. But she made the decision to enter the transfer portal for a second time, which doesn't always work out for a lot of players. But she managed to work it to her advantage and find a system that she fit in, because it's about so much more than just because you don't want to play at the school you're at anymore. It's about more than just the coach. It's about more than just the team, the brand, the whatever. Because she also managed to transition to a team that gets spoken about just as much as LSU. So she didn't lose her national attention, if you will, by transferring either. She was able to kind of take that with her and then show like, I am a good player. I just wasn't in the right space. So yeah, she won Big 12 Player of the Year. So I feel like, and then you also have Miss Misogyny, who I will not name her, but she does play at TCU. She's been playing basketball for 700 years, but for some reason she keeps putting her hands on folks. And I just don't understand how you're allowed to keep playing a sport when you are a domestic abuser, but whatever. They also have her. And her and Haley play pretty well together. So I'm going to pick TCU because of Haley.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. I like Haley, so, I'm just going to go with that one because I'm not even going to lie. Like, okay, so let's talk a little football. Let's knock this out because basketball is more prevalent, more relevant right now, so spend more time on that. We are going to go through our 10 games to watch. We'll alternate. These are not in any order. These are just kind of how we see them. My first game, Notre Dame, Miami. This is a big game because one, I think it's pretty early. I don't remember exactly how early, but I'm pretty sure it's early, like week 1 or 2. If I was an adult, I would have written this down, but I didn't care to. But also, like, I want to know if Notre Dame's going to be good again, right? Like people do this thing all the time where they're like, you were good last year, so you're going to be good. And yes, they were young and they're bringing some people back, but like that doesn't mean anything.
It's in week 1.
Okay, I knew it was.
Yeah, it's Sunday, August 31st.
Oh, and it's a Sunday game?
Yeah, 7:30 p.m. ABC. It's a primetime game.
I love college football. Anyways, Notre Dame, Miami. And also, I just love to hate on Miami. But again, for some reason, people think Miami is going to be good. So I think this is going to be it's one of those games where, like, I don't think it's as big as it's not as big as Ohio State, Texas, where, like,
Right.
I know both of these teams are going to be good, and this is going to be a banger. I think this game's going to be a banger no matter what, but I think it could kind of tell, like if Notre Dame rolls, it's like, okay, Miami's ass again, Notre Dame, but Notre Dame, Miami.
I also have a Miami game chosen as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we picked a lot of Miami. Clearly, we want to see Miami. My game is obviously, and I have to pull this one up. SMU Miami. I think this was a matchup that I craved last year, so I'm very excited to have it this year. It is a pretty big game on the SMU side. I'm not allowed to publicly say what it's for, but most people will probably, if you look at the date, you'll realize what day it is. I'm excited because I feel like we had some ACC matchups last year, but we didn't have like the ACC matchups, in my opinion, except for when we played Clemson. This to me is like the ACC team to play, and SMU Miami is fairly towards the middle of the season. So that's going to be a really good gauge of like where SMU is at. If we can come out and we can really like play Miami and play Miami well and beat Miami in that sort of situation. So,
yeah. I have Clemson SMU because we wanted 10 games. I never want to talk about Clemson, but it is a game.
So. Okay, well, it's a rematch of the ACC championship, so there's that. Jesus.
It's a game that exists. That's what
It's a game that we are playing. Yes, we are playing Clemson. I do believe we played Clemson before we played Miami, if I'm not mistaken. So, shout out to SMU. I mean, we are going head first into the ACC football this year. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, it's my turn. Yeah. I chose Miami again, but I really more so I was choosing it for Louisville. Louisville, Miami. It just sounds interesting.
45-42. Telling you right now.
It's going to be close.
I'm not even talking about close. I'm talking about shootout. It is also
there will be no defense played whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
There will be no defense whatsoever. But I chose it just because Louisville looked pretty good last year. They were a tougher matchup for us on the SMU side. Like we almost didn't win that game. So I would like to see it.
Yeah, and also they transferred in Miller Moss. And here's the thing. I'm going to say something that people are going to think is crazy.
Which you usually do.
I think Jeff Brom is a better quarterback coach than Lincoln Riley. Yes, Lincoln Riley has the Heisman winners. Yes, Lincoln Riley has the first round picks. Yes, Lincoln Riley is the better recruiter.
But so then how is he not the better coach?
Developer.
Oh, okay.
Making your players better. Especially making your players who don't come to you as first round draft picks.
I was just about to say that. Yes, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
With Miller Moss because Miller Moss was in a first round draft.
Needs to be developed. Yeah.
Whereas, not to bring the Ohio State into it, Ohio State turned a 6th round draft pick into like a 2nd round draft pick. Right. Jeff Brom turned a random quarterback that nobody had heard of at Purdue into a draft pick who has started games in the NFL. Like he's not going to be a long-term NFL starter, but he started games for the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like if Miller Moss has any chance of being a good quarterback, I think he's going to be better with Jeff Brom than he was with Lincoln Riley.
No, I get that because I do think that there's I do think sometimes we falsely attribute success to the coaches when it really is like the players were just that good. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can see what you mean by like, there's a difference between like, you should be able in theory to coach the best of the best. They're the best of the best. But like when you're getting guys who actually need development, who actually need attention, who actually need time, who actually need real coaching, to me, that's the measurement. Yeah, so like, I see what you mean.
The best coaching job Ryan Day did wasn't CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Saying that CJ Stroud wasn't CJ Stroud, like expected to be that when he came to college, but he was underrated. The best job Ryan Day did was Will Howard.
Right. Because who was Will Howard before?
CJ Stroud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like the best job that he did was Kyle McCord. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like those are the ones that you point. You don't point to Justin Fields. Like, that's dumb, right? Like Like the best job that was done at Bama was Mac Jones. They turned Mac Jones to a first round pick. Like it's not Bryce. Bryce was always going to be good. Like that's what I'm saying. And Lincoln doesn't have that. Lincoln does not have, i.e., Spencer Rattler. If you do not come to Lincoln Riley as a first round pick, he doesn't know what to do. So Miller Moss, not amazing, but he did show some things. Jeff Brom is low key one of the best quarterback coaches in the country. This is going to be a good game. And I would then like to take this into my Louisville pick because Louisville Pitt.
Yeah.
I already talked about Miller Moss and Pitt quarterback. Like I should have written his name down. Oh, I didn't need to. I knew I was going to remember it. Eli Holstein. Dog. Like I don't know. I don't know if y'all watched Pitt last year. I did. Eli Holstein was a very high recruit for Bama, and then Bama went with Jalen Milroe, and Eli said, "I'm out of here."
Thank you.
Pitt and was instantly good as a sophomore. And no, he wasn't great. Yes, he made mistakes, but he was a sophomore. My thing is, and I said this once, and I'll say it again. If he keeps developing, and I don't know if he will because Pitt sometimes does weird things. Eli is a guy who, especially if he doesn't come out this year, could easily be a number one draft pick. I'm not saying like he's going to be that, right? Like that's not what I'm saying. But when you look at what they want, the height, the arm, the running, like these things, if he continues to progress, he can put himself in that conversation. And 100%. Even though he's going to be draft eligible after this year, I really hope he stays another year, like 3 years as a starter. But like, it's going to be Eli Holstein versus Miller Moss. Like we get all of the ACC this year is going to be points. Like that's what it is. It's going to be the old Big 12. It's going to be like, where's the defense? I think there
will be no defense from anywhere. I think that's a great segue into my pick because my next pick also includes Pitt. Because
on purpose. We're just good like that.
We literally, this is not on purpose. My next pick is also Pitt. It's Pitt versus Florida State. Now, my eyes are just on Florida State in general because of what I mentioned on the previous episode about Florida State having just a historic downfall. So Florida State is in the hot seat. Florida State is in a space where you need to prove yourself. You need to come back and be who we feel like you're supposed to be at this point. When it comes to Pitt, I mean, Pitt was the one team, and if y'all listen, and y'all heard me talk about how Pitt was a team that I was genuinely worried about when it came to when SMU played them. We just happened to come out and sort of smack them in the mouth early, and they just didn't catch up with us. But Pitt was rolling over every opponent before they came and played us. Yeah. So I'm very, very interested to see a Pitt who I think Pitt and Florida State play a little bit later in the season, if I'm not mistaken. I think they play a little bit later. I think they're like week 7 or something like that. Yeah. Oh, wow. I guess that right off the top of my head. Oh, my gosh. Give me roses. They're week 7. So we would have seen a little bit of what these teams look like by then. Maybe one of them or both of them might be ranked by then. Who knows? So that's going to be a fun one.
Yes. I didn't realize that we did this, but we did do this. My next one also includes Pitt.
Do we just care about Pitt?
I think so. I guess so. I don't know why, but I guess
Isaiah James is back in the game, by the way. Isaiah James is back in the game. She is running. She's setting a screen. She is playing basketball again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Please keep going.
Yes. What am I doing? Is this the wrong class? I literally said it was this class. Okay, now they're lying to me. Sorry. So,
anyways,
I'm looking for something because there's a through line here that I'm trying to find, and I'm not finding it. And so I think.
While you look for it, I will also say that I saw Myles Garrett. Back to the original point, he's not just the highest paid defensive player; he's the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL now.
Yes, ever.
Period.
Well deserved.
I honestly love that for him. I became a fan ever since he smacked old boy upside the head with his helmet. Because, like, what is wrong with you? Don't be talking to me crazy.
I was right. Sometimes I know things. Thank you for filling in that time.
You are so welcome.
So we were just talking about Eli Holstein.
These refs are not calling anything.
No. Eli Holstein was a quarterback who was committed to Alabama. Do you know who was also a quarterback committed to Alabama? I'll tell you. His name is Dylan Lonergan.
Okay,
Do
great, because
you
I don't know.
when he was committed to Alabama? 2023. Do you know when Eli Hosteen was committed to Alabama? Also 2023. Do you know what Alabama decided to do? They decided to play a running back. Right. Thank you. Okay, you be locked in. We be locked in. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched Eli Hosting last year, and I said he's better than Jalen Milroe.
That's a quarterback.
He's better than Jalen Milroe. Personally, I don't know if Dylan is also going to be better than Jalen Milroe. I can't speak to that, but I hope he is, because I think it'd be hilarious. And I never do this because I root for every black quarterback. But it would be hilarious for Alabama to have 2 first-round draft picks and to not play either of them for Jalen Milroe. Like, that would just, because I don't like Alabama, that would just be chef's kiss. Beautiful. Either way,
they're playing each other.
Yes, he transferred to Boston College because he was recruited to Alabama by Boston College's head coach. Boston College is a quarterback. That connection. If he lives up to his recruiting, which we don't know, right? He may be bad. Like, you never know with these players. But if he lives up to his recruiting, he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks that Boston College has had, and he's going to be there for 2 or 3 years. I also just like. I think like Boston College is interesting because they're one of those programs that's like on the border of being good, and
they're
like
right there. Yeah, they are.
And again, both quarterbacks in the 2023 class who went to Alabama to compete against each other, neither one got the job. Now they're transferring to ACC schools, and maybe they're good, maybe they're not.
And becoming leaders there as well. Another really, really good usage of the transfer portal, in my opinion, is like, I'm not the biggest fan of like, okay, I didn't get playing time here, I'm leaving. But I'm not going to lie. If you are at one of these big name schools and you do not immediately sort of enter into the lineup and you go through your freshman year, maybe even your sophomore year, I'm not opposed to saying I'm going to transfer to a smaller school, or not a smaller school, but a different market.
But in these cases, it is smaller school. They went from Alabama to college. But
I'm saying like I'm going to transfer somewhere to get because I don't think this is the case for every player. But if you are elite enough to where you know you would be a starter somewhere else,
go.
I would do that. Do that. Because especially now with these blue blood type schools, you really, if you don't have success from like the jump there, then you're waiting until your junior or senior year to even have your chance. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And for me, it depends on the position.
It does.
Like quarterback is the place that I would stay. The problem with both of these guys, though, is Dylan. I mean, Eli was good. Obviously, we saw that last year. He probably felt that he was better than Jalen. He didn't get the job, so he left. I understand that. Eli stayed 2 years, but Georgia, Jesus Christ, Alabama, insert school in the South, that Alabama just brought in a recruit who, as a freshman, may win the job. So Eli is both like, I haven't played in 2 years, and you bring in a guy who may be better than me. Like, it's time.
It's time. Like,
wide receiver, depending on who you are, like if you're, of a certain caliber and you're not getting in, but like, again, that also depends on where you're at. Because if you're a wide receiver at Ohio State, I would sit because you're going to be a first round draft pick. Like,
it all depends. It does all depend. But I'm saying, like, I love using the transfer portal in this way of like, okay, I'm not playing at Bama. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and go find something else to do. Because, like, realistically, who's to say that the success that Dylan and Eli are gonna have at these other 2 schools would have even been possible for them at Bama? And not at the same time, because they're the same age.
Eli's definitely, it wouldn't be. Eli's,
you know what I mean?
Would have, because I just really genuinely think he's a good quarterback, and I think that Alabama's coach is he did good things with Michael Penix. Like, I think he runs a good offense, and I think that he is. I won't call him a quarterback whisperer, but I think he's pretty good with quarterbacks. I think Alabama would have been really good if they played Eli, but a lot of people get into this thing where you have an incumbent, especially as a new coach, and so you don't want to upset that. And I'm sorry, I watched Eli. I don't believe that if that was an open competition, he doesn't beat out Jalen. I don't think it was an open competition. I think he knew it wasn't an open competition, so he left. Dylan, I don't know. I haven't seen him play. I won't speak to him, but like, we've seen a full year of Eli. I think he was instantly better than Jalen. So
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Well, another Louisville game is on my list. And that is shock Louisville SMU. This is not a SMU podcast, obviously, but Louisville was a challenge for us last year. So I just want to see what that looks like coming into playing. This is one of the only teams that we're playing back-to-back years wise, excuse me. So we do have the immediate comparison of last year we played at Louisville. This year I do believe they play at SMU. So I'm very interested just to see what that looks like for a second year.
Yeah. My last one, and this is a under the radar one, Duke Cal. And you're like, why Duke Cal? First of all, because I watch football and I don't want to just pick all the ranked games, but also I think it's going to be interesting. Devin Brown transferred from Ohio State to Cal. We'll see if Devin Brown's good. Like, this will be his chance. I don't think he was Ohio State good, but he could very well be Cal good. And I think that, you know, there's some argument maybe that Ohio State didn't always give him the chance, but I watched him play in person. So, like, I have an opinion on him that I don't think everyone has, because, like, I watched him play in person, but that doesn't matter. Devin Brown.
I've seen him in person, so.
Well, my thing is just like, I did see him in person, but also I was at the angle where, like, I was directly behind him. And the best way to watch a quarterback play is to be behind them so you can see the field and you can see things.
What they see. Yeah.
And also he always throws high. So, like, but again, you're talking about transferring to another level, getting your chance. He's been in Ohio State system and coached by Ryan Day for 3 years. Like, and I like him. I have no ill will against the kid. Like we just said, like, this is the kind of transfer that we support. And for some reason, Jaden Ott decided to stay. And so he's going to be one of the best running backs in the country. So I just think that they're going to be fun. And Duke got Darian Mensah from Tulane, who is just a very, very, very.
Wow. I didn't know he transferred.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. Duke, Cal.
Well, what is so funny is there's a through line. I also picked a Duke game. You guys, we really don't plan this. No. I also picked a Duke game. I picked Duke and Clemson. And I picked it for a similar reason. I felt like it was just going to be a fun matchup to watch. It's going to be all offense again. But I felt like Duke is one of those teams too. I feel like that's like they're having this success. They're kind of climbing up the ranks as far as their football program is concerned. And so just kind of seeing like where Duke is at up against a team like Clemson, who, I mean, Clemson beat us and we ran through the ACC. Clemson, you know what I'm saying? Clemson got their spot in the playoffs. So just see how they match up, how they stack up against Clemson, but also just Duke in general. I think I just have my eye on Duke in general. So I did not know that they got Darian Mensah. So now I'm really excited about that.
For sure.
So, because I loved Darian Mensah in Tulane. I always thought he was bigger than Tulane. Like, no shade. I always thought he was bigger than Tulane. So I love this for him.
Now he's at Duke. Yeah. All right. That's it. Those are 10 games.
Period.
We're probably going to be right. You should listen to us. We're good at this. To wrap up the show, our 2-minute warning. Mine is going to be very quick. Jid, aka JID, aka the best rapper on Dreamville, is supposedly releasing a new album. He had an album listening party. That's all I have to say, because I found out he was dropping a new album yesterday. Don't know the name, don't know when it's coming out, don't know anything about it, but I love Jid. I think he's one of the better rappers in the game, and I'm very excited for this new album. And I was very much like, obviously music comes out all the time, like the women rappers and artists are like killing it. R&B is finally coming back. We got we got Teddy Swims,
Coco Jones,
Giveon. I said Coco, but yeah,
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Giveon stopped tap dancing, so his music is good again. So sorry. But last year was crazy for music, especially for like my taste. You had Vince, you had Schoolboy, you had Kendrick, SZA, like, and it's just
Kendrick. I can't stop listening to GNX.
Like, who is gonna drop in 2025? We got everything we wanted, and here comes Jid. So
I will say there's one thing that me personally, I still have not gotten what I wanted. Okay, and it's now about to be 7 years since Invasion of Privacy was released.
Cardi?
Yes. So that lady owes me an album.
And she keep dropping features and going on tour. Cardi, what are you doing?
Dropping features and literally outdoing whoever she's featured, whoever song she's featured on, she's outdoing them. Okay, every single song. I'm sorry, what song is it? It's a Megan Glorilla song. I loved it by itself, but when they put Cardi on there, she said, "Bitch, please, don't nobody want to be ya."
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was quote unquote forced because I like Megan and I love Glorilla to go to Megan's concert. And they brought out Cardi and they did that song live. And I said, oh my God.
She said,
God is a woman. Bless.
Am I toast white like Matthew McConaughey? Like, please give me an album. That's all I want, Cardi. I don't care. And here's the thing: you're going through it with Offset. You're going through it. That music is about to be so good.
Yeah.
It's about to be so good. It's about to be so good. It's about to be so good because she's going to talk about how she's a kick-ass mom. How she is literally running fashion right now. She is running the rap game, and these niggas can't keep up, and that's why she had to drop his ass. I swear, the music is about to be so good because she also says that she doesn't like making music when she doesn't have nothing going on.
Well, you got it.
You got stuff going on.
We get it. You was happy.
Give me the new breakup anthem. Give it to me.
You was happy. You was dropping your babies. You was being a good mom.
It was, if it's up, then it's stuck. No. Now talk your shit. Talk your shit and give me a new, be careful. Give me a new breakup anthem. Please.
Yeah. Also, just saying.
Sorry.
Megan, Glow, and Cardi on the same stage.
Oh.
You could have taken me then.
Like I would love to die right there. Like, oh my gosh. I just there's so much that I need. I was even talking to my best friend the other day and I was like, I'm being greedy because I want more music from Meg, and she gave us 2 projects last year. And I'm being greedy. Like I want more. Like I can't be greedy, but yes, R&B is coming back and I'm very excited about that. I'm going to keep my 2-minute warning quick because I will crash out if I don't. I just would like to come in on here and say, because it's happening right now. I don't like NBA Centel and WNBA Centel, the Twitter accounts. Because they've done this with a few athletes. They've done this with a few people where they have misquoted them, or they have made up quotes, or they have said that an athlete has said or done something that they have not done. And NBA Centel has been on my list for a while because they have been releasing fake news about the Mavericks, especially post Luka trade. They've been releasing fake news talking about they've banned Luka's jerseys from the stadium. That never happened. They were talking about fake news, talking about how they were giving everybody refunds. That did not happen. Like, I just don't like that. And basically what has happened now is there have been several Twitter accounts and YouTube accounts that have come out and said that Angel Reese threatened to sit out the WNBA season if she does not get paid the same salary as an NBA player. That lady never said that. She did not say that. She did not say that. If you listen to Angel Reese's podcast, which I do, she was talking to Dejanay Carrington, and Dejanay Carrington said she has been in the meetings for the CBA, and that there is a very high level, a high potential that if the CBA does not turn out the way that they wanted to, they will sit out, which is something that has happened in every professional sports league, might I add. It would not be ridiculous for anybody in the WNBA to sit out if they don't get what they're asking for. Let's start there, because the NBA players have done it, MLB players have done it, NFL players have done it. That is a very normal thing. But to say that she said that she was threatening to sit out because she wants an NBA salary, she never said that. And it creates a space for people to be hateful, and people already have this level of vitriol for Angel that is so much higher than they have for any other player, all because she pissed off the Great White Hope. And it's getting ridiculous that people have been sending her hate for the last 2 and 3 days because they think that she said something that she did not say. I can't get into why you're sending her hate for wanting to get paid more, because they deserve to get paid more. I can't even get into that right now. There's people who are doing far less who get paid more than WNBA players, but that's not the point.
Also, it's hard to go back to the WNBA when Unrivaled has been here for 2 weeks and you're getting triple your salary.
$200,000 per person. If they win a championship, they get $50,000 per person. They have money to blow. Even the trainers are getting $10,000 bonuses from Icy Hot. Like, they have money to throw at these people. So yes, if the WNBA is going to reach the heights that we know that it's reaching, because they're already talking about expansion. We already got up to 16, 17 teams already?
16. But the rumor is that they're going to, first of all, technically they haven't announced the 16th. It's just been rumored that it's Cleveland. So we don't know how many they're going to announce, but it has also been rumored that they listened to me. Of course they didn't. They just smartened up that they're going to go past 16. That this round was good enough, as I expected, because I heard about 12 really good bids that they're going to select. I don't know which number. I still think 20 probably just going to go to 18, but they're going to announce multiple whenever they do announce.
Exactly. And the WNBA is growing at the time that it's supposed to be growing. Again, it's a young league. This will be its 30th season, I believe. If not 30, then 29. But it's growing exactly when it's supposed to grow. And I'm just going to keep it a bean. I don't give a flying fuck who you attribute the growth to. I actually don't care. I don't care if you think it's Caitlin. I don't care if you think it's Asia. I don't care if you think it's Angel. It doesn't matter. They're growing. They're making millions of dollars and signing millions of dollars contracts for distribution, for media, for sponsorship, and all these other things. The players deserve more money. Period.
And for the people who, to wrap this up before we're here for another hour, and I don't know that I didn't watch that episode, so I don't know that this is what they said specifically, but I do know that everyone has said this who's had a voice to talk about it. The biggest difference between the WNBA and the NBA, the
revenue shares,
is thank you. It's the revenue share. It is not just that they make less money. The thing is, when the NBA, right? So like, just tie it to the NBA and the NFL, right? Contracts in those leagues continually rise because they get a certain amount of the revenue, and in their collective bargaining, there's a certain amount of money, a certain percentage that has to go to player contracts. Yes. So in the same likeness, where in 50 years the NFL's media contract got cut in half, the players would lose money because the salary cap would lower because it's tied to the revenue that they're making. That is not the case in the WNBA. So as currently constituted, as the WNBA is getting their largest contracts ever, they have no obligation to pay the players more.
And that is not about to work.
Share, which is what happens in all the other leagues, then this year and 5 years and 10 years and 30 years, as the league keeps making more money, the players will make more money, where eventually, no, for various reasons, they won't be signing $100 million contracts, but in 10 years, in 15 years, and whatever, it could be typical for your Juju, right, who will be in the league in 10 years, to have a $5 million deal because the league has a $200 million TV media contract, where yes, the NBA is $5 billion, right? It's not going to be that, but
also the NBA is 50 years older. Yeah, God damn it.
Once the league's revenue and they're getting a $500 million contract, now, yes, Juju, Paige, Caitlin, those players are making a $5, $6, $7 million. And the league minimum, instead of being $60,000, the league minimum is now $200,000. Like,
exactly.
That is what they're asking for. They're asking for revenue share, which is the basis of all of the other leagues.
And the other thing, too, that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to this, too, is the WNBA is also the only league that does not stand on its own. It is owned by the NBA. So there has also been a lot of chatter about the fact that the NBA almost might have too much equity at this point in the WNBA, because the revenue sharing also, there's levels to that when it comes to the NBA and the percentages and how all that stuff works. So there's a ways to go, right, to raise the salaries of these women for a lot of different reasons. But what we're not going to do, and I think what a lot of the players are indicating, is what we're not going to do is just grow. And the only people's bottom line who gets bigger is the league, and it's nobody else. That's the main point, is we're going to grow together. The players are going to reap the benefits just as much as the league is, period. And again, I just want to just give the context too. If you're not going to go and watch the episode, the conversation wasn't even about that. It was a side conversation. They were just chit-chatting about, I can't exactly remember, but they were just chit-chatting about how the new CBA was coming out, this, and this. And it wasn't a topic on the show. It wasn't, they sat there and talked about it for 15, 20 minutes. Dejanay just said, yeah, I've been in the meetings, it's getting real. And Angel said, I heard that people might sit out. And Dejanay was like, yeah, people might sit out. And then they moved on. That was the conversation. And people were like, Angel said she's going to sit out if she doesn't make $3 million. She didn't say that. She did not say that. They literally she was like, I heard people going to sit out. And Dejanay was like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Which is also a conversation that has been had. Even even Nneka has talked about how the Players Association is not playing with the WNBA this season.
No.
And they will sit their asses out. They've been talking about that. They've
and
been
now
saying
they have
that.
Unrivaled to go to on
And
top
now
of going overseas.
They have even more leverage. So this has been a conversation this whole time that we could be looking at a lockout. We could 100% be looking at a lockout if they don't get what they want. Like I said this weeks ago, but people have been adding in their own extra sauce. And the biggest thing I'm getting at is the hate against Angel Reese is getting really, really weird. It's getting really, really sinister. It's getting really disgusting. And it's just not fair to that young woman. It's not fair. When all she's trying to do is elevate women's basketball, and she's just trying to create a path, and she's just trying to follow in the footsteps of the women that she looked up to, it's not fair to treat her this way every time she says something that you don't agree with. Even though in this case, she didn't even say it, but like if she does say something you don't agree with, that's not necessarily to be sending her death threats and be hateful and to say she doesn't deserve anything and all the things that I've seen people say. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, that was not short, but had to get it off your chest.
I'm tired of everybody. I'm tired of people hating on Black women. I'm tired of it.
Big facts. As always, stop hating on Black women.
Period.
Watch women's basketball. Everyone watches women's sports. We will catch you next week.